What up? We are back with another episode of What's Your Grails. I'm your host, Tony Sanders. We're running a little late today. Had some stuff happen at work and got it all situated out. And as I said before, I'm going to put the show on the road. Let's go. We got to get it going. So, my special guest tonight is none other than one of the best trolls in the chat. Uh, Yeah, I mean, dude, like he would roast, and I'd just be sitting there. I'd be trying like not to laugh while I'm reading the chat. But it's Hulknutz 911.
What's up? Say what's up. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, man. I'm glad to have you on, dude. Man, like y'all shows kill it, and y'all. I mean, like y'all bring a different aspect of the whole collecting thing out, and it's like, and I enjoy that. And it's
That's pretty
like,
much what we're trying to do.
yeah, and it's like, and I enjoy it. I like you should be allowed to say what you want to say and say how you feel, and if that's like the topics y'all pick, man, do what you do, dude, because it's like I said, like it's we all say it, and if you don't believe we don't say it, we all say it. Nobody can tell you how to collect, and so nobody should be able to tell you how you feel about certain topics. So.
Yeah, I mean it's good and bad. If you're divisive like we are, because we definitely split. You definitely get a lot of some love, but you get a lot of hate, and a lot of people who love you don't want to say it because they're afraid everyone else turn it on them. So it's a double-edged sword, in some ways, but
hey.
It is what it is. We do it for fun. We're not really like in it for the business of it or anything like that. We're just two dudes, and that's about it. We're just, like I said, we care about people though, deep down, even though some people argue that I don't, I do actually care about, most of the comic book community and the hobby as a whole. I want it to be healthy. And so when I see something I don't like, that's just me. I say something. It's just, that's my nature.
Well, that's cool, man. So I always start the show off and I ask the question, what is your holy grail?
My holy grail, I mean, it's probably no big surprise to everyone. I mean, because I've been a Hulk guy for as long as I can remember. I mean, I literally have pictures of the screaming kids on Santa's lap, that every parent does with his kids, like in a Hulk sweatshirt, like, like that was my thing when I was a kid. Like, I didn't get to watch much TV. Well, I take that back. I watched a lot of TV, but TV was a punishment for me. And I know that's going to sound weird.
Really? As a kid? Wow.
When I got in trouble, my dad would make me sit at his feet and watch TV with him, and I wasn't allowed to talk. And he would watch shows that I just hated beyond all you could believe, like Dynasty and
Dallas and stuff like
Night Court.
Oh,
just a bunch of shows. I can name off about 20 of them, and I rarely really got to watch TV I liked. So like I said, TV is kind of bittersweet for me. I'm not a huge TV guy in some ways because, dude, it brings back bad memories. Like I never got grounded. I get smacked around, but I never got grounded. It was, all right, you're going to sit here and watch TV and keep your mouth shut.
Oh, man.
I would have to watch all these shows, Cheers, Night Court, MASH, just on and on and on. But the one show I did like when I was a kid was The Incredible Hulk.
And so he'd watch that.
Oh, I loved it. Like from the moment I don't know, because I wouldn't say it was a kid show by any means.
Oh no.
But I loved it, and so from an early age that was kind of my thing. So I mean, like my holy grail, I mean, like I said, probably no big surprise to anybody who knows me whatsoever.
Bam.
And it took me a long time to get. It wasn't a okay, I got to be a little bit older and I didn't get it till I was in my early 30s. And I told the story before, but
I haven't heard the story. So what's the story?
So when I re-enlisted, I was in the Army, so you don't make a ton of money and stuff like that, and at this time I still had a house and, so, you have bills.
Oh, yeah.
And I went on eBay and I see this listing for Hulk 1-6. And it was at this was a while ago, so it was at like $2,500. I mean, by now, yes, that's a deal. I mean, if you saw
it is a deal. Yeah.
$2,500, yeah. Buy it now, quantity 5, but
well, my finger would break.
Yeah. At the time, it was a lot of money for me. Like that was it was way more than I could ever afford to buy on comics or pretty much on anything else. So literally, and I've never done this before or ever since, is I hit the dude up and I said, "Hey, would you consider payments?" I just thought, hey, why not? What's he going to say? No? Okay. So he replies back. He goes, yes. He goes, what kind of payment plan are you thinking of? And I'm thinking,
that's cool.
I didn't think this far ahead. But, I'm like, how about I believe it was like just under $2,500. It was like $2,450 or something like that. So I can't remember the exact amount. I either did 6 or 8 payments, either 6 payments of like 400 something or 8 payments of 3, something like that. And for sure, I thought, oh man, I'm never going to see these books. Like he's going to take my money because there's going to be all these random payments because you could only do one payment at the time through PayPal for that item.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh man, he's going to take it, keep taking my payments, and then just be like, what books? What are you talking about?
Oh, no,
but anyway, so, after almost a half a year or whatever it was either 6 or 7 months, made the final payment, and he's like, awesome, bro, whatever. And, a week later, I got a package and Hulk 1-6. And
I bet you was relieved it showed up.
I was relieved, because obviously that's a ton of money and spent all that time. And then getting a whole.
Oh, wait. So what did your wife say? Did your wife know you were doing this, or did she?
Oh, she was like, you're an idiot. Literally. Like, she's like, you're an idiot. She's like, you're going to send some dude you don't know money? And this was a while ago, so this isn't like eBay now and PayPal now.
Yeah.
It's, like now, yeah, you're pretty safe, and there's electronic trails for everything. But back then, it was a little more...
at your own risk.
Yeah, it literally, especially doing it in an unorthodox way. Like, I went outside of eBay, technically. So, like, I wasn't covered by a ton of the policy, all these policies that they have in place now. So, yeah, I was worried about it, and it's a long time to worry about it. It was over a half a year of like, oh man, am I really going to see this book or not? These books or not? And like
there's been times like I've opened up stuff and I'm thinking like they didn't send this or they didn't send the book, or you open it and you're sitting there thinking like you got or something, and it's like you're sitting there. And so I've been there. Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, and I've had more than my fair share of experiences on eBay with bad things happening and have to recover my money and open up the disputes with PayPal. And so, yeah, like my wife was kind of mad because she was like, that's a lot of money you're sending away. And, you're not making because you don't make a ton of money in the Army. You're not millionaires joining the military. So, yeah, she was like, you're an idiot, flat out. She's like, you're never going to see these books. You're never going to see them. The dude's going to rob you and he's laughing at you. And the books are going to get relisted, a few months later. And I'm like, well, all right, and it was dumb, but I was like, it's my only shot of probably ever getting a Hulk #1. 2-6 you can get. They're not too badly priced, but Hulk 1s, especially now, are just
and that's the one right there you got, right? So
that's the one, yeah. And like I said, it's a 1.8, but I love it. Like it's one of those books I look at and it makes me really, and it has nothing to do with value. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong.
No.
I'm not going to say value isn't important because all of us love to look at a book that costs a lot of money. I
don't know what you're talking about. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But it's one of the books that like genuinely make me like happy, and not because it was a great story, because it isn't. Even as a hardcore Hulk fan, it's not the greatest story in the world.
And everybody says that about 80 and 80, like 181, 180. And
181's horrible. Like it's a horrible story, and that's only reason I have it is because to have a Hulk run you have to have 181. I mean,
Yeah.
But I'm not a Wolverine fan, and the story sucks. I mean, to be honest, that's why it's such an odd book to me, because I mean, I know why it's valuable. I get that. I'm not dumb, but
yeah,
it is a bad story. Whether you're a Wolverine fan or a Hulk fan, maybe if you're a Wendigo fan, I guess it's kind of cool, but you know. So I mean that's definitely my Grail.
He's like really, oh, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like he's like the bastard stepchild. Like he's just like totally left out of the whole. He's in the he's on the books or whatever, but he's like, it's just like everybody talks about Hulk and like
he's not even like a C-lister. He's like a no-lister somehow.
Yeah, like I don't even like.
But he's actually a pretty cool character. They're like a sort of a vampire type race. You know, they bite, they infect others, and he's super savage, and they literally eat people. I mean, like, so he's actually a pretty cool character, but he gets treated like, you know, he's an NPC of sorts. Like, I don't even know. He's not a villain.
He's like the Big Show.
You know, he's an odd character, but you know. So yeah, that's definitely like my personal Grail, and like even if I had a ton of money, this would still probably be my favorite book that I own.
Yeah, that's Jeffrey's. I think Jeffrey said that's his Grail, and then I think, well, I know 102 is one of his too, but I know that one.
There's a lot of Hulk books that I really like, and you know, I mean, there's a ton of them I really like, but
I like that one behind you. It says Captain Marvel though.
Oh yeah, I just got that one from Barbarian Kung Fu. He was trying to fix it, and one of the corners ended up kind of tearing, and he's like, "Oh, you know, I'll just give it to you." We were doing a trade, and but like I said, still a super cool. That cover's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Awesome
book. One day I'd like to get one a little bit higher grade, but you know, issues.
Yeah, because I'm always looking for something else. My wife's always like, "Oh no, this is what I told my wife when she was like, what did she tell me? Oh, that's when I bought that book at C2E2 or whatever. I bought the Green Lantern one, and I called her and told her right before I bought it because like, JD wasn't around because I was trying to get a hold of JD because I was going to ask JD what he thought about it, and I was like, oh, forget it. So I just go ahead and went ahead and did it. But like, what's funny about the whole thing is that she told me, she was like, so you'll call me for that, but like if it's below like $300, you don't say anything to me. And I'm like, so she's like, okay, so the limit's $2.99. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, so if you see something hit the bank account or you see something $2.99 something, don't say nothing. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. I didn't mean it like that.
That's not a bad deal though, right there.
But so I was like, you know, but she was just like, okay. I was like, whatever, okay. But like, I mean, like when it comes to me buying stuff, like for like my, you know, this is my hobby, so I like to do this. But when it comes to buying stuff, she's okay with it. But like, I just like if it's something really crazy, I have to, you know, like I literally feel like I have to ask her because it's like we both make money, so it's like, you know, I don't feel like I should be like step aside. You know, my hobby is more important than, you know, because I'm not trying to sleep on the couch, dude.
I was just saying, yeah, dude. I don't want to sleep on the couch or on the porch or on my friend's couch.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely always have to check. I mean, honestly, I check on most things I buy. Pretty much anything over about $20, I usually have to kind of.
Yeah.
Hey, is it cool if I hit up eBay a little bit or hit the LCS?
Yeah.
So I got to be careful, you know. But
see, because I've besides going to my buddy's shop, I really kind of cut back on like going to LCSs right now. So it's kind of like, I don't know. But what was weird though is I bought this book, and this book is going like stupid crazy. Like I don't even like.
Dude, that one went beyond nuts.
Yeah, like
instantly.
Yeah, like super fast. Like I just liked it because it was like a, you know, it's a homage cover, and I was like, Alex Ross is the, you know, the shit to me. So I was like, cool, I want to know Alex Ross, you know. But I don't know. And then like I'm thinking about selling it. I don't know, like selling it just to get a book that I want. But I
mean,
didn't. But I didn't buy that book with the intent that it's going to skyrocket. Who like I passed on the Batwing. I didn't know that was going to do what it did.
I would say, yeah, no one does. Like I said, I don't think anybody saw that one. Too many people saw that one going crazy. But I mean, honestly, I probably would sell it because the amount of money you get, and versus I don't know if that's going to hold its value, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Like it's not going to stay at that level. I mean, then again, who knows? It's a weird market, and it's super hard to predict lately. Things happen, and I just scratch my head. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. But yeah, I get it. Cutting back on new stuff. I've been doing that a lot. I've gone down to bare minimum so I can keep buying older stuff that is going to get out of reach.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Just get stuff that's kind of I don't want to like get. I don't know. It's like Reggie said it best. It was like when he got back to collecting, he felt like he had to do catch up or whatever, play catch up, and it's like I don't know if it's more like me playing catch up or just me like enjoying having like I don't know. It's like I like enjoy hunting them down, and then like I enjoy like looking at them. So it's just like I don't know.
It's hard because like sometimes I think I put myself in a bad frame of mind. I feel like I'm in a race.
Yeah.
Like, I need to hurry up and get these issues because they're gonna get away from me. Like in the last few years, look at Daredevil #1. You used to be able to buy that book for under $400. Like under $5, you can get a super nice copy. Now I've seen coverless ones sell for $300.
That's like giant size X-Men. They're like you can see it on eBay. Like they got like tore up ones going crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. So sometimes, and I don't like it when I get that way, like when I feel like I'm in a race, like, oh my God, I got to get this and I got to get this. Oh, but I still got to get this one because, and this one's going up too. Oh, and then all this new stuff comes out. So I got to get this. And then I got to like pump the brakes and say, all right, hold up. Let's go back to my basics. And, because there's just too much. Unless you're a baller and I'm not, you can't just buy everything you want. I wish. But
Bueller, the 90, Chris Claremont signed the 94. It's getting slabbed. We're getting the 94 slabbed.
Man, he is not gonna let that one go. Like ever. That one, dude, you're gonna hear about that one 10 years from now.
It's like, dude, if I had I told him I was I literally said I can't ever if I sell it, it has to go to Bueller. So I was like, I can't really sell it. So it's like, and I don't think like if I was to ever get rid of it or something, like I'd give it to Bueller first before anything like that. That's like
as long as he's the high bidder, yeah.
For the sketch variant exclusive.
That's all right.
Oh, I don't want it now.
But so what are we on now?
Oh, what other grail do you have?
And my other grails, like I said, mainly a lot of sentimental value too. Because I got them off the off the shelf, not newsstand, off the shelf. It was kind of one of my first trips to the LCF, like a comic book store. It was a comics and collectibles store. They sell baseball cards back when they were actually a thing.
Oh yeah.
Everything was expensive, all these cards, and they sold comic books. And I was in there and I was walking around. Of course, I just, I was like, oh my gosh, because I was always buying stuff at Walgreens because that's all that I knew. So you never got to pick what you wanted. Whatever showed up, that's what you got, So sometimes I'd get a Hulk, but sometimes not. Sometimes a Marvel Tales, because they only had like 6. Like in the magazine aisle, they would have this one small section of comics, and whatever was there was there. And then if you didn't get there when they first came out, somebody'd snatch stuff up. So I never got to consistently ever grab stuff. So the first time I went to first few times I went to an LCS, it was like, oh, they have everything. You know, what is this place? Like it was crazy. So I grabbed my Hulk stuff, and then the owner or the comp manager, owner, whoever he was, I don't remember who he was. I was a little kid at the time. Was like, oh, hey, you know, what are you into? And I said, oh, you know, Hulk. And he's like, oh, you like green things, green, you know, tough guys. And I was like, okay, you know, yeah, that's one way I guess you could word it. And he's like, you should grab that right there. And I looked, and I never knew. I had no idea what it was. So he's like, oh yeah. He goes, there's these. He goes, it's just like the Hulk. He goes, these things got into some ooze. They turned into these crazy fighting ninja guys, and you know they whoop ass. And I was like, okay, you know, green turtle. You know, the turtle's green. I'm like, shit, that sounds kind of cool to me. So ended up grabbing, and actually I grabbed, because my grandpa said he was with me. He's like, he goes, all right. He goes, that sounds kind of interesting. A rat, you know, teaches the turtle, you know, karate, how they worded it back then. So we grabbed up 2 issues because he said he wanted to read it. And he was like, I know. He was telling me, he's like, I know you don't like it when I read your comics because I bend them up. So he goes, I'll grab me a copy too. So I bought 2 copies of Ninja Turtles #1 off the shelf way back, you know, 1984.
Crazy.
And it's cool. I mean, I really like them. Well, I mean, because one, they're Ninja Turtles. Who didn't like ninjas in the 80s? I mean, Ninja everything was cool, you know. And I've always been a big Ninja Turtle fan. But like my grandpa read, you know, one of these, and like my grandpa was my idol. You know, he served in World War II. Like he was like the end all be all. He was like Captain America in real life to me as a kid. So,
that's cool.
You know, that's why I've been hesitant about getting these slabbed, because I know it's going to sound kind of weird, but like, you know, my grandpa read the, you know, I don't know which one though. That's the problem.
Oh, snap.
One is the one he read. And like
you should sit there and be like, CGC, hey, which one has the fingerprints on there?
Yeah, tell me which one doesn't have my fingerprints. And, no, we sat at a table and we both read them because he would read comic books with me because I was, you know.
That's cool.
And so he read one of these right next to me at the table. And like I said, he wasn't into comics that much, you know. But, you know, because he was too. And so like these, I mean, it's great. They're worth a lot of money, all that garbage. But, like, you know, there's, like, some super cool memories for me attached to these issues. So they're kind of like my, you know, definitely top personal grails of mine that I own.
Oh, yeah. That's cool, man.
So and also that's why I haven't slabbed them yet, because I like to be able to still open them.
That's why I won't slab my the Death of Captain Marvel. I always read it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's, you know, and everybody's like, oh, just read a reprint. I said, I get it. And, you know, I don't read them all the time, but I still like to know I can open it up and sort of have that, you know, because like I said, my grandpa's the one who got me into comic books when I was a kid and used to take me all the time. And, you know, so like he's the whole reason I collected, pretty much made it possible for me to collect. And like I said, he sat there and read Hulk stories and Spider-Man stories with me, and I knew he could care less. I mean, honestly, you know, you do that as a parent, whatever. But to me, it was like, you know, I love those times because, you know, what the person you look up to is like, you know, into the same stuff you are. That's, I mean, to me, I don't think it gets much better than that.
Let me give a couple of shout outs. We got a Comic Lover Omega, Bueller's in the chat. Count on Strange says that's my grail. Is it a first print?
Yeah, they're both first prints. Literally off the shelf first prints.
And Pope Cerberus the First, what is up?
But yeah, those are, like I said, you know, for me, grails are more partly sentimental, partly, you know, maybe nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to have some crazy grail like a Captain America #1, but, you know.
Oh, man. Dude, that's like, oh, man. Yeah, that's exactly like lottery money. If I had lottery money.
I call them lottery grails, you know. Like,
yep.
If I did a big, huge one, I'd probably have to go snatch up a Captain America or, you know, attempt to, I guess. But, like I said, those my Hulk one and my Ninja Turtle one, those are probably like my most prized. And like I said, not because of value. It was more the memories of it all, and Hulk #1 being like, that's the beginning of it all. For Hulk fans, that's that's it. That's probably the ultimate goal for most Hulk guys collecting comics is that one. And it was something I never thought I was going to get. It took me 20 something years from the time I started collecting to finally get it.
Man.
So, so it's not like I said, it was just like, oh, I like Hulk. Let's get Hulk #1. It was I never thought I was going to get one. I was like, that's probably not going to happen. But say, you never know. That's what I tell people. I was like, you never know what opportunities might come up. Then another one that's like a personal grail. Like I said, it's got history. It's not an uncommon one by any means. It's something everybody's going to recognize instantly. But Amazing Spider-Man 129. I don't think I even need to explain it. Everybody knows. But this actually belonged to my best friend. He was a huge Punisher fan, like massive Punisher fan. And we served together and stuff. And we actually got it. We were in San Diego for a training thing, and we both failed out of a swim qual for dive school, for Army dive school, because we both swim like rocks. I got told I have negative buoyancy, as they say. So we went in San Diego, and it happened to be San Diego Comic-Con that year. This was back in the early 2000s. It was right
when you didn't need reservations.
But it was still hard to get tickets. And so we went up to the little kiosk, whatever, and we said, hey, can we get in? They're like, no, there's no tickets for today. They said you can come back tomorrow. It was like we went on a Saturday, and they said there's only tickets for Sunday. We're like, oh, we're shipping back out tonight. We can't do it. She's like, yo, sorry, can't help you. So we're like, man, we got to get in. We have nothing else to do. We're leaving back to North Carolina that night. So I was like, man. So we tipped the busboy. We found a busboy working inside the convention center because it's attached to the hotel right there.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, man, how do you get to like a back door or something like that? And he was like, I can't tell you that stuff. And, we gave him the sob story. Like, come on, man, we're in the Army. We're get ready to leave. Come on, buddy. And we ended up giving him like $20 each. He showed us this little back door, showed us where the security room was, the locker room, and threw on those yellow shirts that say black, security in black.
Yeah.
We threw it on and we walked into the back door of the Comic Con.
What?
Just walked in. The other security guards like, hey, we're like, hey, what's up? And, we kind of looked apart because we were all close. Our hair was all cut. We had that look. So we walked in, ditched the shirt. I still have the shirt somewhere. And he ended up buying that book that day. At the time, he got it for like $150, $175. It was bad. Like I said, this was a while ago. And so yeah, he got the book and he held on to it and stuff. And like I said, after he passed, he gave it to me. I said that wrong. His parents gave it to me after he passed. Because like I said, he was a huge Punisher fan, and we used to visit comic book stores all across the U.S. every time we get deployed to, we get stationed somewhere or go to a training. We go to some little, whatever the comic book stores were. So like that's kind of a big one for me too, because I'm a big Punisher fan too, because he's a former Marine, Frank Castle. So. Like I said, that was my buddy's book, so that one holds kind of a special place for me too. So
you're not gonna slab that one either, or you're gonna slab that one?
I just had it pressed, and like it looks nice. I'm still up and down on it. I probably will, because so it stays not. That's where I struggle. I'm like, I want it unslabbed so I can hold it, read it, but at the same time, you want to preserve it. So it's always like I'm always up and down. And like one day, like literally, I had all the paperwork filled out, for CGC, boxed it. I was driving over and I stopped. I turned around. I came home, cut it all back open. And I can't do it. I can't slab this one. So, you know, it's like I said, one day I should just, so like I said, so it stays nice. And,
Yeah.
you know, they do look nice, you know, presentation wise, you know, I do like slabs for that reason.
Yeah.
But
So I went and bought a 180 before it got too crazy. So I was like, I bought that, but that's not my favorite Hulk book. My favorite Hulk book is actually the one I share with Jeffrey.
102's, dude, 102 is an awesome book. I mean, I think it's an often overlooked book too.
It is, but I see it like a few places. Like if you ever see it in like somebody's collection, sometimes you will. And it's like I don't know. Like I have more of a like Jeffrey would just talk about this book and nonstop, just 102, 102, 102. And I was like, okay. So
Well,
like
because like for every Hulk fan, you know, that original run, 102 to 474 is like, that's like the Old Testament sort of thing. That's, you know, that's the OG run. And for most people, 1 through 6 is just ridiculous now. I mean, there's just no, I mean,
yeah,
number one thrashed is, you know, $5,000, like
yeah.
trashed. You know, I just saw a point five sell for like 5,800, and it was like half the cover was gone.
It's crazy.
And you know, so a lot of people, I don't know why, like Tales to Astonish, honestly, because it kind of, it's not really Hulk, so to speak. He's not really his own character. He's
Yeah.
more of just an antagonist, sort of a plot device for everybody, giant, you know, Giant Man and Submariner to fight. So I think 102 is, that's like, that's kind of everybody's jumping on point for what, like for collecting wise, story wise, you know, that depends on what you like. But 102, I think, as I said, it's an overlooked issue. Retells the origin. You get in the meat and potatoes of, you know, of the original Hulk run, and like I said, I think a lot of people overlook that book. They just don't consider it, and for the prices you can get it right now, it's still pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that's not that bad. Like,
I mean, all things considered, it's not cheap by any means, but it's not $1,000 book.
yeah,
You get it in a
exactly.
high grade.
Yeah.
But you know, that's my opinion on that one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Say other personal grails for me. Say this is one for me. This is a personal grail. It's nothing crazy. Um, Savage Sword of Conan.
Is that the first? Wait. Which one is that? Let me see. How is that?
It, you know, like I said, it's not his first appearance or anything, but I love Savage Sword of Conan growing up. I'm still a huge Conan fan.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know. I like the magazine format. A lot of people don't like it. I mean, I get it. Back in the day, it was hard to take care of the things because there really wasn't adequate protection, and a lot of them got trashed. But I don't know. I always liked the magazine format. It's probably why I liked the Ninja Turtle when it came out, because I was like, oh, magazine format. It's kind of like those. So that's another like personal grail for me. Like I said, it's not an expensive issue by any means. I mean, you could probably find, you know, reader copies for like $10, $15. I've seen them for, and decent copies for under 50.
Oh yeah, that's. It doesn't matter how much it costs for it. It's like if it's something special to you, that's like I tell people all the time. X Force #1 is special to me. This one,
dude, I like X Force. I don't know why. Like everybody looks at me crazy, but I'm like, dude, I loved a lot of the '90s stuff. Like I enjoy reading a lot of it.
I do too. It was like to me, it was like they had like like they had like cool stuff, and it was just like like I don't know, like people. Some people like Liefeld, some people hate him. Like I don't know, all the '90s stuff to me was cool. Like Silvestri, all the Image stuff, anything like that. Like I don't know, I just like I had fun back then. It was just like
that's what I'm saying. It was fun. No, it's not like deep or prolific or provocative or nothing like that. It's pretty surface level, But I mean, like X Force, Cyber Force, Supreme. I really used to like all that. The early Spawn, I loved Pit.
oh yeah,
All those Wildcats.
Yeah, Wildcats, man.
I liked it actually. I mean, I get it. Some of the stuff was over the top and a little, but I mean that's comic books. I mean,
I like Stormwatch, but like, if you'd ever have you ever read that? Like, Stormwatch was like not even bad. It was like Justice League kind of met like kind of like a tactical army kind of thing, and it was like. Cause like all these, like they were like work for the government, but like they all had superpowers, and it was like they were like it was cool, man. I thought it was cool,
dude. And I mean, I like the artwork from the '90s. Like I get it's not everybody's cup of tea. And Liefeld, yeah, he's his own thing, whatever. You know, love him, hate him, whatever. Liefield's Liefeld, especially with all this new drama he's created. But I mean, I liked all that stuff from the '90s. I liked a lot of the titles from back then. And like I said, it's not like I was a '90s kid either. I was an '80s kid, so it's not like that's my childhood. I mean, I was still young, by every stretch. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like it when I find, and I like it because it's cheap too. I could buy a ton of Image stuff, and but. Like I said, everybody's different. They like it. They don't. And I get it. That's what the best thing about comics to me is. There's so much out there, and the different time periods, and
oh yeah,
some I enjoy more than others. But yeah, I love the '90s. To be honest, I'll read it all the time.
That's like you got the Golden Age. You get your silver and bronze and all that stuff, and it's just like I don't know. To me, I just like. I like to read like different stuff. It's like, and like hanging out with like JD, like I look at Golden Age stuff more now. And then like with Jeffrey and you guys, I'll look at Hulk books and stuff. I'll be like, oh, I don't have that book yet.
It's weird when someone else talks about something real, like they're passionate about it, how it like sparks. All of a sudden, I'm like, huh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And even books that I'm not really into, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool actually. And
yeah,
and that's kind of been one of my favorite things about YouTube is reading stuff I never even considered before because someone else is like so into it. I'm like, there has to be something for this person to be so into it and so excited about it, and a lot of the stuff, I ended up almost surprising myself. I'm like, wow, I actually really enjoyed that. Because to be honest, I don't know. I'd say the vast majority of comics, I can't say I truly hate a ton of stuff. I mean, there's some things, not my cup of tea. Wasn't great. Some of it sucks, but for the most part, like I end up enjoying it when someone else does for some reason. I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. Economics and comics.
God. He's going to be mad at me.
He said Hulknuts poop.
All right. See, I didn't even have to read the chat. I knew he was going to be mad at me. Thinks I'm ignoring him or something. But Golden Age, I haven't gotten into too much, man. That's a rough pool to jump into.
Yeah, no, like I bought one Golden Age book, and that's just and it is still kind of a superhero book too, because it's like the Shadow or whatever. So it was like, I was like, okay, and it's not that I wouldn't buy just like a regular like Golden Age book. It's just I don't know, man. Like people have like their own preference. Like I like superhero stories. I like the struggle. Did I miss Hulknutz say Squirrel Girl? No, Hulknutz did. Oh, Hulknutz! Like I couldn't even do it to you, man. Because at C2E2, I couldn't even do it, man. At C2E2, there was a chick cosplaying Squirrel Girl, and I took a picture of her. And I couldn't even send it to you because I was just like, man, you're too nice of a dude. I can't.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of shots, dude. I got a lot of photos sent. And somebody sent me like 2 Squirrel girls like hugging each other. I was like, dude. Like, dude, there are people I don't even know on Instagram. Like, I don't really know them very well at all.
Yeah.
Sending me like Squirrel Girl stuff. I'm like, ew, what? Oh man, that's harsh. It's harsh. Like, I expected.
I couldn't do, and it was a cool cosplay. She had like the tail and everything, and it was like, and it was cool. And I was like, and when I first seen it, I was like, I gotta take a picture of this and send it to Hulknutz. And I took a picture of it, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't. He's too nice a guy to send it to. So I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't bring myself to send you the Squirrel Girl picture.
No, don't worry. Plenty of other people did. Plenty of other people did it instantly because they were still at the con when they sent the photo.
Well, Pope Cerberus wants to know: do either of you have an affinity for those golden books? I mean, yeah, like I said, like Golden Age books, like that's a whole different. Like it's collecting, but it's like a different kind of collecting. And like I listened to JD when like I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm at C2, and I think I've told this before, but I'm gonna tell it again. I was at C2E2 with JD, dressed as Pace Pot Pete, and I'm sitting there with JD. We're at this uh, comic dealer, and we're looking through the boxes, and the Golden Age Guru shows up. So we're all sitting there talking, and then like they start talking about Golden Age, and like when they started going off of the Golden Age, it was like a different language to me because I was like, and but they're speaking, they're talking about like different, just different things in the Golden Age, and it's like, and I'm not very versed on the Golden Age. I like the Golden Age, and it's like, and that's why I like to sit there and observe stuff because it's like, the more you like hanging out with JD, I learn a lot more stuff about Golden Age. Watching the Golden Age Guru, I learn more stuff. And just sitting in the middle of that conversation, I think I like absorbed like a lot of stuff just sitting there with them. But yeah, Golden Age, like I said, that's a whole different kind of collecting, but it is nonetheless collecting.
It's just rough with Golden Age because like you go to most cons, I'd say like probably a high 90s percentile, you don't see much Golden Age. So if you see a book you're interested in, whatever it is, let's just say Captain America something. It's not as if you can go from one booth to another and compare. Like you want a Hulk 181, you can go to 10 different booths at a con.
Yep. That is true.
You find some early Golden Age book, you'll be lucky to see more than you'll be lucky. Most booths that I go to at most cons don't even have any Golden Age, let alone to see the same book at more than one booth to kind of compare prices.
Exactly.
And like I said, no one goes by Overstreet. I mean, people can say what they want. I've had dealers flat out say, well, do you see Overstreet written on my shirt? I'm like, all right, no, and they go, I charge what I charge. So it's like, it's hard to jump into that unless you do know. I mean, yeah, if you have like Golden Age Guru on speed dial, send them a photo. But like, I like early like war comics and even horror type stuff. But it's just a rough pool to jump into when I'm looking at this book that's barely a 0.3 and it cost me, $300. And, the guy's like, oh no, it's a good deal. I'm like, $300. The thing's like barely holding on. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm saying I just don't have that knowledge and I just don't see the stuff. And I've been to more cons than I could probably count. I mean, I've probably got over 100 cons under my belt at this point, and I can count the amount of Golden Age stuff I've seen probably on one hand. And so that's the hard part. Like I said, I love the old war books and the horror books, and I would love to collect Golden Age Captain America. I only have a couple.
Man,
there's such a huge investment, and
yeah,
I'm not even sure. And then you go on eBay and you're lucky to even see one.
Oh, I know.
I'll type it in and there's none on there. So I'm like, oh man, it's like, what do I compare this to? And then if it's not graded, like I don't know grading standards for Golden Age very well because I know it's kind of a sliding spectrum for the ratings. For books that old, then stuff from the Atomic Age, the Golden Age. That's just a tough mark. Scary.
Tech 31 Kid said gold was more available in the early 90s at cons. The good old days.
Yeah, see, in the early 90s, I was probably early 90s. I was looking at Wildcats. you know,
Walking right past everything, like, yo,
yeah,
hey, Jim Lee.
I would have saw a Golden Age book and been like, no, I don't even know what that is. So I mean, I had no experience with it, and I still don't have a ton of experience, and don't claim to, and wouldn't advise anybody on it because I have no idea other than they're super expensive.
Yeah, but I'm learning a lot though about the Pieta covers, bondage, headlights, all that gets the good. I like the terminology, man. That's why I like the terminology of the Golden Age.
Oh no, like I said, it's interesting, and I like listening to guys like Golden Age Guru, JD and all them. Yeah, it's great, but yeah, I just don't see the books ever, like hardly ever, even at high end cons. Sometimes like I've heard in my area there's a show in Berkeley. I guess that's a super high end con, but I haven't been to that one yet, and so that's a scary. Then I see this beat up book, for $500. I'm like, man, you know what I can buy for $500? I could buy some badass Hulks, for that. So I guess, it goes down to collect what you love. And, I like the historical aspect of it all, but that's just a rough market for me. I'm a little nervous to jump into that unless I had someone kind of coaching me like, yes, buy it. No, don't buy it kind of thing. And I've yet to meet that person around where I live that has that kind of knowledge. So I stick to what I'm comfortable with. And Hulk's in the Silver Age at, the earliest. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I just want one Golden Age Cap book. That's all. Just over there somewhere. Just like
Oh yeah, like I said, I would love a whole bunch of Cap books from the Golden Age.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
I just know how much I've seen pages go for.
Yeah, ridiculous, dude. Like when I was at C2E2, I was just like, and then like when you're like, because like they had like Metropolis there, they had who else was there? They had like Torpedo was there. They had all. If you name it, like like Comic Link was there. All those people were there, and it was like you would look at these books, and it was just ridiculous. And it was like, and I'm looking at the Golden Age caps, and I'm like, the one I seen that was like anywhere where I like, and it wasn't graded. It was just a raw book, and me and JD looked at it. And me and we were like, and it was like I think it was like $975. And I could have got it, but like JD was like, no, he was like, no, we can find something else. And I was like, okay, because like that's what I was there for was a Golden Age cap, and I'm not versed in gold, and so when JD's like, no, so I'm like, okay, cool, so we're not doing this one. So
yeah, like I only really have one buddy who's into Golden Age, but he really doesn't go to cons, and he's just like, oh, if you have a question, just hit me up with text and. But then I'll show him a picture, and he's like, "Oh, flip it open and do this." It's like, it's such a hassle, and it's to me that's a big risk to me. I'm just scared to drop that kind of cash and then end up with something that's. And I get the whole argument of like, oh, if you love it, but sorry, I got a budget, and I want to get the most for my money. So, yeah, I'm just scared to pull the trigger on books when I'm sitting there alone and I have no idea what they're talking about. Of course, the dealer's going to say, oh, yeah, it's a great deal. Yeah, of course, everything's a great deal when they're trying to get you to pull out that money.
I was like this at C2E2, there was this guy, and I understand what this guy was talking about, but he had this book, and I'd never seen the cover before in my life, and it was like the X-Men, and like, but it like popped out like somehow it was like it looked like 3D realistic, but it was like it was just I should have took a picture of it, but it was hard to explain. And I asked him, I was like, I put the book down. I was like, how much for this book? And he was like, oh, it's $100. And I was like, why? Is it like a rare variant or something? He was like, well, the artwork on it is done by it was some person that worked at Marvel or something like that. But like they had like colored it. They had done the coloring on the book. It was like it was already drawn and colored, but they recolored it, and made it look a lot better. And that was like one of the ones where it was like I wanted to buy it, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna buy it because it's just like I didn't know what it was, because it's like I was like, is it worth is it worth me buying this or is it not worth buying it? So it's like sometimes you run into those situations, and it's like Golden Age is that for me all the time.
No, and then like the couple people I've talked to about Golden Age, like, oh, be wary of restoration on Golden Age because it's common. Look out for it. I'm like, dude, I don't know how to spot restoration on Golden Age because I don't see enough Golden Age books. Like on a newer book, I'll look at, and I've seen it enough times that if something doesn't look right or the coloring's a little off or this or that, I might pick up on it. Stress the word might. Yeah. But restoration on a Golden Age book, I have no idea how to. And there's nothing wrong with it. I would take a restored cap from the Golden Age, wouldn't complain. But I don't want to pay. Like I said, I'm just scared to pull the trigger on something, and then I get ripped off, and I could have bought something that I know about and I truly love. So yeah, Golden Age, like I said, that's kind of not a pool I'm gonna probably get into.
Yeah, that's like me and that. Golden Age cap is still on my list, but like original artwork, man, that's another woof.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. That's a tough one. I love it, and especially like God, I'm not sure about the good terminology. The original drawings for a comic book page, and then they have like not the reproductions, but there's another word for it afterwards that they sort of
the prints, like the prints.
Something, I sometimes I can't tell a difference. I look at them, I'm like, I can't tell which one's original or which one's the, and that gets me kind of scared. I'm like, man, that's kind of scary. So like certain things I don't really touch because I'm just uneducated in it, and I really don't want to. I'd rather just buy what I know and wait till that someone comes along that'll hold my hand and guide me through the scary waters of Golden Age and original art and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Somebody was saying, show them. I mean, I got a lot of big buck Hulk books. I mean,
all right, let's see another book. We've been talking for a while. They're probably like, there's no more books.
Well, I mean, I guess being a Hulk guy, it's kind of, it's an obligatory show. I mean, I'll show my 181 because everybody.
Oh, you got 9.0. Woof.
Like I said, there's kind of a story to that one too. So this book does mean something to me. I don't know if you read it. I posted a long time ago. Basically, I got deployed, and a family member stole my 181 that I had that my grandfather bought me when I was little. I think I was 12. Went to a comic book store. It was near my birthday, and so I was picking up. He usually let me buy 2 comic books off the rack or the shelf, whatever. And naturally, I don't usually always take a Hulk book and then something else that looked interesting, usually Conan or something like that. And I was looking at the wall books because that's what you do at a comic book store is look at the wall books. And up there was a Hulk 181, and it was $100 at the time. And yeah, cheap by today's standards, but when you're like 11, or I was like 10 or 11 or 12 or something like that. I was little. That's all I know. It might as well have been $1 million because $100, there's no way I could afford, and even my grandpa probably couldn't have really afforded it. And he's like, "Oh, you like that book?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a Hulk book, so yeah." And Wolverine was cool back in the day, and I never read the story, so I thought, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool." So we left, and then my birthday rolled around, and he got it for me.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, "Holy crap!" But the thing is, I saved it from when I was a kid, and I CGC'd it. It got an 8.5.
Oh man!
So like, dude, I kept it nice for a long time. And so when I was deployed, a family member stole it along with some other graded books because I guess they were easy to sell. I got back, they were gone. I was like, whatever, and I quit comics. I was like, I'm done. Like,
oh, I did read that post. Yeah.
I was done because I was like, how am I gonna get my Hulk run back when I'm
missing the main part? Yeah.
181, and and it just, I was bummed because that was the book my grandfather got me.
That too, yeah.
Like, dude, I mean, that book meant everything to me because, like I said, there's no way I could have bought it. I mean, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich by any means either. Like, so, and my grandfather wasn't either. He was a retired cement truck driver, and he spent some, a bunch of time in the army. So, like, he didn't have a lot of money either. So, $100 for him back, in the '80s, that was a lot of money.
That's from the '80s, boy.
Yeah, because everybody's like, "Oh my God, a Hulk 181 for $100." It's like, yeah, but in the '80s, that was a lot of money, and that was before it was really
like gas was like what, like 30 cents, like 50 cents a gallon or something like that back then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This was, you could actually buy a comic book for under $1 back in the day. So. And then I saved it. Like I said, it was the first book I ever submitted to CGC. It was, and I got back. It was gone. The other books that got stolen, I don't even care about because, like, that one just, and like I said, I was done. I said, I'm done with comics. I said, because my wife eventually asked me one day, she goes, why do you have all these comic books and you never touch them? Like, I had shelves and shelves of comics, and I literally threw sheets over the shelves, like covering all, because I didn't want to see them. I wasn't ready to throw them away, but I didn't want to see them. I was, like I said, man, when your close, immediate family, snatches stuff from you and you're deployed,
dang,
it's a rough pill to swallow. And I put him over his house to be safe because I had an apartment at the time. And so I got rid of my apartment because I was going to be gone for 9 months to a year. So I'm like, well, I don't want to pay rent on an apartment while I'm gone. So I just moved all my stuff into a storage unit, and I put my comics and my other, like, important stuff at, his house. Got back, it's gone, along with a 9.8 G.I. Joe #1. That one still hurts me a little bit too. But so, like I said, I was out of comics, and my wife's like, why don't you collect comics, still? And I was like, I don't want to. And eventually, pulled the story out of me, and birthday rolls around, open up a box, and 9.0 181 is in the box.
Cool.
And like I said, dude, we're not rich by any means. So, like, and this was, oh gosh, trying to think the time. This was only about 7 years ago, 8 years ago ish.
So it was still a lot though.
So it was still, and it was a substantial amount of money, no matter what, like I said. So, like, so yeah, I mean, this book, not Hulk 181, but this particular 181, yeah, of course, this one means a lot to me. I mean, yeah, now they're getting a little crazy on the price. 181's another one of those books that got stupid. But so yeah, so any Hulk book I can show you. But I mean, I got trying to think my other good grails, I guess, if you wanna, for going through grails, there's a lot of people have that one. Werewolf by Night.
That's another book that went like super crazy. Like,
dude, that one went like overnight. It was like kind of a not unknown book, but no one really picked it up.
And it's like there's like no talk of like, well, what they said, like maybe a TV show on their streaming service.
Maybe, yeah. That's. I'm kind of shocked though. They never really did much with it because I mean, he's a popular character.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's Marvel's Batman. I guess a lot of people say that's blasphemy to say, but
that's what it is, though. Like,
to me, he's like almost the closest thing to Marvel's Batman Grim Knight. I mean, like, he's a savage Batman in a lot of ways, whether, because I know I'm not a huge Moon Knight person, but, I got that one a long time ago, though, so I got it way before it was anything. I barely knew it. Honestly, I bought it because it was a Werewolf by Night, and I collect a lot of the old horror stuff because I like Frankenstein stuff, since Hulk is, kind of loosely based on the Jekyll and Hyde and Frankenstein. So I collect a lot of the old horror stuff and so that's the only reason I bought that, was because it was a Werewolf by Night, not because of Moon Knight. I mean, the Moon Knight was cool, but that's not why. Like I said, I'm not a huge Moon Knight fan, but it turned out
my
good.
son loves Moon Knight. Moon Knight. One son loves Moon Knight. One son loves Black Panther and Batman, but he's more of the Black Panther now. And then the other son. Oh man, it's too many of them. I don't know. I know we're going to see Shazam tomorrow though.
Let's say I have all girls, so dude, my girls like Harley and Poison Ivy, and they don't like any. They don't like any. They don't like any. They tolerate Hulk, I think, more so because I like it. But they also think my little ones also think Yoda's Hulk too in some ways. They're always like, "You like Hulk, Daddy? So he's green." I'm like, "All right, we'll roll with that. That's close enough, I guess." Hulk, Yoda, Ninja Turtles, they're all kind of the same.
They just put you in a green mode.
I would say there's another book. There's another book I really like, and it's a Grail of sorts. For obvious reasons.
That book. Actually, that character in the book is blowing up right now. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it blew up though. I mean, like I am and I'm not, because it seems a lot of the posts I read are like, "Oh my gosh, Conan in the MCU, how lame!" And then the next post is like, "This is the coolest thing ever." So it seems like people are really divided on him being in the MCU. I don't know, the whole. I don't know. It looks pretty good to me so far. I think it's been handled pretty well.
I don't know. Like I don't think it'd be like a bad deal because like I've literally like always loved the movies. So like even like the Jason Momoa one that he did. I like the movie. So it's like anytime it's like Conan, I'm in.
I just think it's pretty hard to write a Conan in the fantasy world that a lot of people are going to enjoy. I just think that era, that time is don't get me wrong. I love Conan from back in the day. I love Savage Sword of Conan. I just don't think that fantasy setting does well anymore. It doesn't seem to stick with a lot of people. Yeah, there's some independent stuff that has that setting, but nothing ever really seems to stick, like the swords and sorcery kind of thing. Like I said, I like it. Like I said, I'm a fan, not bagging on it, but it just doesn't seem like it's something that can stick. So if they could put Conan in a setting, the MCU, and he could be successful, like I'm totally down for that, as long as it's not something weird, just, and I think like I said, I think they did it as well as they could. Him popping in the way, I guess Scarlet Witch popping in the way she did. I don't know. I think it's done pretty well. I'm enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to his series coming out, the Dark Avengers.
Yeah. It'll be good. Can't. So you got anything coming out on your channel or anything you doing?
In a couple, God, we were thinking about trying to do a show real quick, but some stuff came up. Then next week, I'm gone at a volleyball tournament with my daughter. So the week after, we're going to have kind of a bigger show. There should be like 4 or 5 of us on there. And it's going to be kind of the basic premise is kind of like old collectors versus new collectors.
Okay.
So a couple old school collectors and a couple newer school collectors, and not a versus. That's the wrong word. That makes it sound like it's
retrospect.
Yeah, just talking about, I'm definitely an older collector because I'm old and been collecting for crap longer than a lot of these guys on Instagram and YouTube been alive. So like I'm an older guy versus like some of the new stuff, because to be honest, I don't totally understand a lot of the new. I don't really understand when certain things come out and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever," and I'm looking at it like, I'm not seeing it. Like I'm like, man, am I really getting old? Because I'm just not seeing the. I'm not seeing it. Like certain artists, I'm not a fan of, that people like go crazy over.
Oh yeah.
And like certain variants that catch fire or people are raving about, I'm looking at like I wouldn't pay cover price for that thing, and they get super hot, whatever reason they are. So I just kind of want to do sort of a, get someone's their views that haven't been collecting very long and why they collect what they collect. And, you know, they're because it seems like the old collectors and new collectors like have totally different experiences and ways of looking at it. And like I said, neither one's right or wrong. It's just I think it's interesting how I think it's really changed. Well, maybe not changed, but is looped back to a time that we've already repeated, maybe. Because I think today is similar to the 90s, but it's not identical. I think there's a lot of differences.
There's more of a media push behind it now.
Yeah, there's been like a lot of developments. Like I said, I talked about it on one of my shows. You know, I think with, you know, slabbing, the movie train, you know, pressing, coming out into the light, you know, instead of being a dark, you know, back alley secret, you know, I think it's changed the hobby quite a bit. I mean, you can argue better or worse. I don't know. I'm not, whatever, you know. So just kind of get different perspectives on that. So we have that coming up. One of the other big guests will be Don, Comic Book Junkie.
Oh, snap.
He's another divisive guy. Probably, you know, he fits in with me, you know, love him, hate him. But no matter what, the dude's been collecting for
a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't disregard that much experience. And you know, so like I like to hear about his experiences, or like yours, because you probably have, you know, you have a lot of really similar stuff. You know, you grew up in the same time I did, and you know, back in the old school comic book stores. And...
Oh yeah, because when I came back to collecting, man, I was like, "What the hell's a slab?"
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, people don't realize like there's huge differences now. You know, slabbing is, and now saying too, like, you know, signatures has always been a thing, but now they're kind of their own little niche that's like blown up. You know, there's a whole like artwork side of the signature, placement, color, you know, different books, and getting certain people to sign certain books for certain reasons. And I just think all these developments are pretty cool in terms of, but I don't understand, you know, some of them I get a little puzzled sometimes, especially with new comic book day and variants. And
that's like Model Vote said, I think new collectors don't get a chance to follow artists because artists are rotated so much. And that's like another thing. It's like, I remember back in the day, like when we would read books, like the dude that did the cover did the art on the inside.
And he did issue after issue.
Yeah. And so it was like, if the cover was cool, you automatically knew the artwork on the inside was going to be good. Nowadays, the cover can look cool, and you can just have like, you open it up and it's like, who, like, you know, it's like, because sometimes the artwork can kill a story. Like if it's bad artwork and you're trying to enjoy it, it's like it can kill it.
Yeah, you know, a good story, don't get me wrong, is great, but man, if the artwork sucks bad enough, it's hard to read. It's hard to overlook bad art. Like when it's horribly bad, I can't even tell if it's like the artist or his son got to go in to work with them and draw for him for a day or something like that. But
exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think it's unheard of. Like in the Hulk run, like Peter David did like 12 years on Hulk. There's no way that would happen nowadays. You're lucky if you do 3 or 4 issues.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's what's crazy. That's why I love it about Immortal Hulk, is they're letting Ewing, you know, really tell a story and like see his vision through. But it's getting rare. It's like, okay, this artist is hot. Let's bump him over here. Oh, you did 2 covers? All right, you're done. Over here.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with, you know, the younger guys, not younger guys, but newer to the hobby guys and, you know, the old school type guys. So I find it interesting how the hobby is like totally changed, and what are considered grails now. It seems like I feel like a lot of grails are out of touch for a lot of people. Like there's just no getting them. Like Hulk, like Hulk, like, you know, since I'm a Hulk guy, Hulk #1's kind of off the table. So like they don't even talk about it. It's like talking about Captain America #1. It's just off the table. So what do you call a Captain America Grail? Most people are like, okay, Avengers 4.
Yep.
Or Avengers 4 or like Captain America number 100. And
yep.
It's like, that's
and I got both of them.
Yeah. And that's what, but a lot of like Captain America fans, that's their holy grail because, like I said, unless you hit the lottery or knock off some fools, you ain't getting a Captain America number 1. I mean, I'm probably not going to. I've seen one behind glass case. That's about close, you know.
Exactly.
You know, so it seems like grails are getting not forgotten, but they're just like Hulk 181. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's done. So Hulk 180 is like the new grail because I can't get a 181.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not a good or bad thing. I get it. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of issues that I'm never going to get because they're getting out of touch. Like, what is it? What's that early Amazing Spider-Man with the Hulk down in the corner? Was it 14 or? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
Blanking. Somebody in the chat would probably know. But dude, that book is getting like it's one of the few Hulk appearances I don't have, and it's getting out of reach. I just saw like a 2.5 sale for like $850.
Man.
I'm like, oh, that's getting a little rough for me. I don't know why I'm totally blanking on the issue. Like I said, but Hulk's in the bottom right corner, just like his head, and I think it's like first Green Goblin.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is Green Goblin. Yeah, because the Hulk's on the bottom.
Like that book's getting nuts. It's getting when a book in low grade is over $1,000, that's starting to get out of my grasp. So, you know, I think a lot of people are just forgetting about those and they're calling different books grails because there's just no getting certain books anymore. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so I just kind of want to touch on that perspective with the old and the new collectors. So that'll be coming up. Said we're just trying to get everybody locked down because trying to get 4 or 5 people.
That sounds like it'd be cool, man.
So that's about what I got coming up. You know, otherwise my kids have me running every which way except which way I want to go.
Oh, it's Amazing Spider-Man 14. That's what.
Oh yeah, sorry. I eventually came around to it. Brain eventually started working.
Text and read the chat.
Sorry, my bad. I'm not good about reading the chat.
So yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna do a early morning video. I'm just gonna show like all the CGC slabs and CBCS slabs that I've bought since 2019, I guess. And my wife was like, "You got a problem?" And I was like, "No, it's not a problem. It's a hobby. It's not a problem. It becomes a problem whenever I'm sitting in the dark and I can't do YouTube. That's a problem."
Well, actually, you know, I'm running into a problem though. Dude, I'm literally like out of space. Like, I'm to the point. You can see.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I kind of show like comics go all the way over there.
Ridiculous.
I have comics like down all there, and then the wall you don't see is just like this over there, and like I'm running out of room. So I'm like, I either have to really just get down to my core titles or something, or start cutting. I don't know. Start selling some boxes off or something. That's my problem.
You know that's not gonna happen.
I know that's my wife's like, really, you can't part with like, you know, just a few here and there. I'm like, I'm like, it is really hard though, because like if you have I'm not a Spider-Man fan. I know I said it. I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. Like I have a Web of Spider-Man run. It's like, how do you either have to sell the whole run, which I don't want to do because then I don't have it. Or if you are going to sell it, somebody's going to take the few keys out of it. Like there's like 4 or 5 issues that people really go for.
Yeah.
And then you're left with a bunch of garbage. I mean, essentially in terms of if you're just looking to sell, you know, so it's like, it's hard to get rid of stuff. from a, just a standpoint of trying to sell stuff, but it's also hard just to get rid of stuff because I don't want it. But I'm running out. I'm literally out of room.
Black Key Comics says yes, it's an addiction.
No, it totally is addiction because and then and whether people want it, I'll admit it because I'm fine with it, dude. There's always that little part of me that's like, I don't want to sell that issue because what if that's the next Hulk 181?
Yes, that is weird.
And like I said, people like they'll laugh, but it's like it's true for me. There's always that little part of me that's like, well, what if that's the next big thing? And then I sell it for like next to nothing, and I'm like, oh.
Well, that's like the conundrum with this thing. Like, I bought it for $20 because I was like, oh, I want that because it's Alex Ross, and and like I didn't even know until somebody was like, oh, go on eBay. These are selling for, and I looked on eBay and I was like, $500, $200, $300. I'm like, for this? And they're like, yep, but yeah, people, and that's like one of those things. Was like, will it hold up, or will it just be a flash in the pan? Will it, like what's that? The Red Goblin or whatever, when that thing came out during the summertime or whatever, and everybody thought that was going to be something.
Yeah, and that's nothing now. All those books, like, they completely tanked.
Fizzed out. Yeah, fizzed out.
But like I said, yeah, it's definitely an addiction, and it's hard to give up stuff because and contrary to what all these people say, like, oh, value doesn't matter. Oh, yes, it does. It matters, and we all care about if a comic book goes up in value. I get why, I understand you don't put emphasis on it so it doesn't turn into just a money thing. But at the same time, you can't look at a book that's worth money and just be like, oh, that doesn't matter to me. Oh, yes, it does. It does. Matters. It matters to all of us. If a book shoots up,
as collectors, it does. It's like, maybe that's, I don't know, like maybe that's why I have a hard time trying to like I want to sell this, but then it's like I don't because it's like
you don't because it's worth money.
Yeah,
like having a book that's worth money. I get it, dude. Like I do the same thing, man. I got books I don't even like, and they're worth a little bit, and now I don't want to give them up because they're worth some money, and I just like saying, yeah, I have it. I like knowing it's there. I mean, whatever, it's immature, I guess. I don't know, whatever the word is.
Oh, especially when you go to like either like a bookstore or like an LCS, or you go like to a convention or something, and you're like, and my kids hate me because they're like, I'd be like, got it, and I'll be like, because I'm like, and it's like, I don't know, I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, I don't got that, but that's how I look at stuff sometimes. It's like because I don't have it, I'll be like, oh, I don't have that, but I'm looking for that.
No, like I said, I used to always wonder when I was younger, like, how do people end up with like 40,000 books? Like, how do you do that? But now I get it because like I think I broke 25,000. I'm right about there. No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, but I used to always think I remember a time when like my collection fit like 3 short boxes. Like, I remember that time very clearly. I literally could flip through and tell you where every issue is. Now, I'm lucky to be able to find a run. Like, I'm like, I know where my Hulk stuff is. That I can tell you. I can tell you where every issue of Hulk is. But after that, it gets a little sketchy to find stuff. I mean, like, I've literally lost books. Not lost, but couldn't find them for, like, months.
Man.
Like, last time I submitted to CGC, I could not find a book I had ready to go. I couldn't find it. And, like, months later, it finally turned up. And I'm like, wow.
Man.
So that's what I'm saying. My collection get a little crazy, but, dude, I just can't give it. I have such a hard time selling stuff that. And the only time I really sell, to be honest, is when I buy a collection. And I have to sell some stuff so my wife doesn't get mad at me that I spent that money. So I sell just enough to put that money back in the bank, and then I don't sell anything else. Unless it's something I just absolutely cannot stand, which even stuff I can't stand, I save. Like, I don't know what it is. It's a bad addiction. I got problems.
Yeah. Black Key Comics says the only reason my wife tolerates my collection is because she knows the value. And I think that's like some of my wife's deal too. Is like she, like one day she asked me, what was it? She was like, so She was like, "What's your most valuable book?" And I was like, "All." To me, it was like I was like all of them. And she was like, "No, like if you were like had to like run out of the house and like take one book with you, which one would you grab?" And I was like, "I can't answer it." 'Cause I mean, like I know people will say Captain Marvel, and it's like, yeah, I love Captain Marvel or whatever, but like the old, to me, it's like like they're all important to me. They're all like like you said, you can't get rid of them. It's like I have all these books for a reason, and I have all these books because they're important to me. And it's like even the ones in my boxes, like I remember when I got them, and I remember where I was when I got them, and like stuff like that. So it's like you get attached to it to the point where it's like I've only sold like ever one book, and that's like when I had went to the Dallas Fan Expo. They'd give me like 3 copies of some Spider-Man book. It was the Red Goblin stuff or whatever, but it was done by Delato. And I sold one book. I still have 2 of the copies, and I sold one, and I still regret selling that one.
Oh, dude, I like I said, besides like when I buy collections and I just sell it off so I don't get in trouble for buying them, I've only sold off like a few. I've only sold off 3 books, and like I said, I did it because I put my foot in my mouth with my daughter. I promised, like I think I might have told you, I don't know. I put my foot in my
I
mouth
think you
about
did tell me the story on that
promising
one.
her something for her birthday, and I mean, it was a water slide for. We have a pool, but we didn't have a water slide. I
Yeah.
promised the water slide, which is stupid, and they're very expensive. Just FYI, if you open your mouth and run your mouth to your kid saying, "Yeah, I'll have the water slide installed in a week before your birthday," don't do that because yeah, they're expensive. And like I sold off my giant size X-Men #1, and it was a nice. Oh, dude, it was
Is
a
that the
nice.
wait? Is that the what? No, you didn't. No, no, you didn't sell it to your friend. I thought that was the one you said you sold to your friend.
And
But
then I sold The Walking Dead #1, which I regret that one because because the guy got it graded and it came back. Oh man, like I knew it was a nice copy. Like looking at it, it was beautiful, and I sold it for good money. I sold it for $1,000 cash. He hit me up on eBay. He lived in the same town I did, just random, and he was going up to some con to get it signed because I guess probably one of the creators or something was up there at the time. And he got it graded, and it came back a 9.9.
oof,
I was like, oh, that hurt a little. I was like, that hurts. So I'm like, I'm not
man.
selling anything big anymore because it just, like I said, the X-Men, I had to because my buddy gave me the amount of money I wanted to be able to handle my promise, because I always like rag on my kids, like, keep your promises no matter what. If you have to, like, cut out your own kidney, you keep your promises. And I was like, oh man, that was so stupid of me. And because, like I said, it was a beautiful copy. Beautiful copy. And I got it a long time ago, so I didn't pay a lot for it. I only paid a couple hundred way
Yeah.
back in the day. But yeah, so I don't really sell anything like crazy. Like I said, it's all junk. I don't sell anything.
See, it's like what's killing me is like you see, I won't ever put a book there because it just reminds me of my giant size expert is gone, and it's CGC has it, and I'm waiting for it to come back. So that spot will be blank for a long time.
Yeah, I got to send off. I got like 5 books. I'm gonna send off. See if I should have them. I showed them on another show. I just haven't sent them yet, but I'm sending off that one.
First Blade.
It's a good copy. It even my the guy who cleaned it and pressed it was like, dude, that copy's beautiful. Has like a tiny nick up top. Has like 2 little tiny nicks. There's not one spine tick at all. The colors are
Mm.
nice. And then the other one, which he said he couldn't even find any flaws in, he said it looks absolutely
That's another book that was like super crazy, but like it was already a book though, but it just like kind of went like when they announced the show, it just went even super crazier.
Yeah, I don't know. I always liked the series, so like I bought it off the shelf way back in the day, just like the Walking Dead, my Walking Dead one. I bought it off the shelf because I'm a zombie. I love zombies and horror stuff, so I was like, oh, zombie book. So I had the first, I bought the first 20 something issues right off the shelf month to month, and like I said, I sold that one. I shouldn't have, because now I have a crap ton of Walking Dead, but no number one.
Oh man!
And it bothers me. Like I'm like that. It's sitting up in a box with no number one, but dude, that's not an easy book to just go and say, oh yeah, I just order one up.
Nope.
And now it's like everybody's like, oh, just get a beater copy. I'm like, I can't. I can't because I had like a super not that I'm gonna buy a 9.9, but like I said, bad addiction. It's just a bad addiction. And I'll get healed when I die. And my kids sell off all my comics.
That's what I was laughing about my kids. I was telling them, like, yeah, here goes. I told my oldest son, I was like, you don't get any books. And he was like, why not? I was like, because you'll sell them as soon as I'm gone. He was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I knew you would.
Your heart rate's just slowing down and he's going out the door. I'm
not
dead yet, you little turd.
Exactly. And see his my middle son, he's more of he knows the value of them and stuff, so he would be more like the kind that would just keep them because they're mine, and then they'd be his, and he'd keep them because he'd remember me. But my oldest son would be like, money. And I always think that's funny, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, I don't know about. I think my older daughters. I think it depends on if they're mad at me at the time. Like right now, my 13-year-old would probably sell them right now for a pair of shoes. She's mad at me all the time. I like ruin her life like 7 times a day. So I'm not sure. I got to stick around for a while because my kids. Yeah, my oldest ones might sell them off quick. My little ones might be a little more loyal right now, but who knows?
Yeah, it's the younger ones that they'll hang on to you. The oldest ones are like, yeah, he's finally gone. But we're gonna shut it down. We kind of went over, but I had a blast, man, and glad you came on.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, bud. Say anytime, man.
Oh yeah. And tomorrow I'll be on like, what is it, like 9 Pacific Standard Time. I'm just gonna show all my books, like all my CGC books and CBCS books that I got so far this year. But yeah, I'll be on in the morning. So after I get the kids off to school and get some breakfast, and what's retarded is like I'm taking them to school. I'm making them go to school. Well, my wife is making them go to school, and then like I'm literally gonna go pick them up like at like noon because I'm gonna go watch Shazam in 3D.
I'd be like, man, let's all sleep in. And...
Yeah, my wife, she's like, they have to have their education go, and I understand that, but it's like sometimes you just want to go watch the superhero movie, and it's like we're ditching the whole day. It's Dad and Son's Day. Let's go, and like they like that stuff, but it's just like she'll probably like, yeah. See, the deal was like, I know we're supposed to be leaving, but the deal was I was supposed to get to sleep in tomorrow. But like she was like, I'll pay for you to go to the movies and take the boys if you get up and get them ready for school because I was supposed to get to sleep in. So I was like, okay, she'll do that. So, but the whole deal is like, if I don't, she'll probably be like, oh, you have to pay for it yourself. And like, so I'm a cheapskate. I don't like to pay for movie stuff, man. Like. Have you been to the movies? Like the movies?
Oh, like, I just pre-ordered my tickets for Endgame.
Like, oh man, it's like the popcorn alone will just rape you.
Oh, dude, I got 4 kids, dude. You know what it cost us to go to the movies, dude? Like, dude, I don't even like thinking about it, man. Because I mean, by the time we buy the tickets, and granted, we have a cool theater that has like these reclining chairs and all that sort of stuff, so it's nice. But I mean, not even counting the tickets, man. We go up and just you know, everybody gets a little popcorn or whatever they get, man. It is like, what the F? $100.
Yep.
Like, what? Oh, man.
I always tell my kids, like, if we, like, because, like, where we go, like, we get the bucket and it's like got a free refill and a free drink. I'm like, you better let popcorn go get that refill. We're taking it home. Take the refill.
Oh, I do. I fill it up on the way out.
Exactly.
When I'm walking out, dude, I fill it. And I'm like, yeah, you're gonna eat some popcorn for the next couple of days. I don't care.
Yep.
It's a lot of money. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah.
I'm glad it's just not me.
No, dude, I do it because, dude, it's just, yeah, it's like one large popcorn. That'll be $18, sir. What?
Exactly.
I get a steak with that?
No. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Hopefully at my wife's expense and not mine.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is What's Your Grails. We're finally gonna shut it down, but y'all have a good night and get some sleep.
Later.